Students spend all of high school trying to find themselves and their passions. Now, the class of 2017 is ready to soar to new heights and find their place in the world. We featured 5 seniors who have decided to go against the grain in choosing their field of study. The ghostwriter met with each of these seniors to see and understand their decisions in choosing unique majors. We wanted to hear their stories before they head out into the world outside of WA.
Jill Limbert is a member of the 2017 graduating class of WA. Since she started attending WA 4 years ago, she has been an active member of both WA Theatre Arts and our chorus, and has continued to establish herself as a member of the WA Performing Arts community. This year, she has directed the 3rd season Black Box show The Gingerbread Lady, and will be in the 4th season musical, Spring Awakening. Today, we sat down with Jill Limbert to discuss her traditionally unconventional major and the college that she will be attending.
Okay, so what major are you and minor are you looking for?
I am looking into a professional music major with a vocal performance emphasis. It's essentially a performance major, except you can't double major with performance majors, and they're very regimented at the school I will be going to. So essentially, I'll be having a performance major, but I'll have a lot more flexibility to take courses in songwriting and audio engineering and music business and things that will just help me be more well-rounded and more employable. Yeah, as a musician, that's kind of the goal.
Okay, so prospective colleges, things like that.
I have not yet committed, but I am 98% sure I will be attending Berklee College of Music in the fall.
So why Berklee?
Well, the first 2 are my 2 top schools that I was accepted to were Berklee, which is in Boston, and Belmont, which is in Nashville, and only one of those cities has a plethora of Dunkin' Donuts, and I need my caffeine fix. Yep, in Nashville. There are not enough. Take note, Nashville, if you're listening. And because I have a puppy, and Berklee is 45 minutes away, and my mom can drive her to my dorm, and it's totally fine, whereas it would be a little bit more complicated if I were living in Nashville. But the educational reasons, which are more important mostly, are that Berklee gives me the opportunity to do the genres of music that I want. A lot of programs of the caliber that I was looking for are strictly classical, or they really spice it up and you can do jazz, which, well, I have a tremendous amount of respect for both of those genres, and that's not what I want to do. I want to do country and pop and maybe a little bit of musical theater. But I have the flexibility, and you still get the classical background, especially since they've merged with Boston Conservatory, which has a classical program, so you still get that training. but you don't stop there. You take what you learned and you take your classical foundation and you use that to make you a better country vocalist or a better R&B vocalist or a healthier all-around vocalist. It also has the type of artistry that I'm looking for, and it's very music-based. So their theory and ear training classes are focused on what can you learn to make you a better musician, what can you learn to make you a better improviser, what can you learn to make you a better songwriter, and that's how it's taught.
What pushed you toward picking this as your major?
Every time I thought about doing something else, I just kind of felt sad. You know, music has always been a part of who I am, and there are other jobs that I'd like to do. You know, I'd like to go into nursing. I'd like to be a lawyer. I'd like to do a million things. You know, when you try a shoe on and it's like, this is nice, but it just kind of feels wrong, like it doesn't totally fit, is always kind of how I felt. I believe that God gave every person on the earth a way to help the world. And I think that I was given the ability to help people through music. And I'm not saying that in a cocky way, because I understand how it could totally sound like I was given the gift of. But I know music is something that has brought me comfort in times of hardship and struggle. And it's helped me, you know, with relationships I've been struggling with, and even just hearing a song and relating to it and knowing, okay, someone else has felt what I'm feeling right now. And I would love to be able to provide that comfort and that understanding to other people. And I think music is the way that I can best do that.
All right. So it's a known fact that you are a singer.
Yes.
Here at WA. Chorus, theater. Mm-hmm. So how has all of that helped kind of guide you towards your current major and your love of music?
Choir has been helpful because I am a busy person, and choir, if nothing else, and trust me, there's so much else, has given me an hour a day where I'm singing. I think both music and theater have just helped me a lot in terms of artistry and kind of finding a place where I'm comfortable with myself, so I'm better about putting myself out there. When I was younger, I would write songs and I would perform them, but I wouldn't tell anyone they were original because I was too scared that people wouldn't like my art and people wouldn't like me by extension of that. But I'm in a place now where, you know, I'll tell people when I wrote a song, and I think I have the comfort in myself to take risks as an artist, and a lot of that comes from the love and support I get from the music and theater departments at Westford Academy.
Who in the music and theater department has helped you a lot at Westford Academy?
Teacher-wise, there's Mrs. St. George, who's our choral director, and, you know, we call her Mom a lot. She's so supportive, and she gives us just a safe place to be artists and to learn and to grow.
We spoke to Mrs. St. George about Jill and her career at WA within the past 4 years, and this is what she had to say.
What have you thought of Jill Limbert and like her growth as a musician in the past 4 years?
Like all of my students, Gillian has grown a lot as a musician over the last 4 years. She's put a lot of time into her practice and study of music, and she's going to be studying music in the future as well. I'm just excited for what she's going to be starting at Berklee for next year, and excited for the music that she's going to make with the people that she's working with there.
Thank you.
All right.
In regards to Mr. Towers, you know, if Mrs. St. George is my mom, then we'll call Mr. Towers my dad. Again, it's just a lot of support, and you know, the theater department has given me so much confidence and a home. Again, it's very similar to what I said about the choral program, but it's taught me how to effectively tell stories, and you can bring a lot of theatricality into music. So just classes and learning about directing and playwriting and the structure of plays and the structure of musicals and how to communicate with someone. Also for theater, you kind of have to be comfortable with your body, which is hard for a lot of people, especially in high school, because we're all growing and changing, and it's weird and awkward. And so you have to gain confidence with that if you want to be successful in theater. And you also have to be confident with that if you want to be able to perform well. It's one thing if you can, stand up and sing, but you look pretty awkward doing it if that's all you're doing. So it's helped me as a performer kind of groove a little bit and kind of feel music and help audiences feel it.
When talking to Michael Towers about Jill and her accomplishments in theater and what he hopes for her, this is what he had to say.
What do you think about Jill Limbert and all her years knowing her?
Gillian Limbert is one of the most hard-working students I've known. She's determined. She is a graceful young woman. She's got very clear objectives, and she's very passionate about what she does, which is very, very inspiring. She takes on a lot. She's got very, very high expectations for herself and for her art. And as I said, she's incredibly diligent. She has a wonderful, wonderful composure and manner.
And she's going into school at a conservatory for music. And how do you think that'll be as a fit for her?
I'm very proud of her. Obviously, it's a very, very reputable school, and clearly she has the skill set that is deserving of her being accepted there. So she's a very, very gifted person, but the more impressive than that is her drive and her work ethic matches or exceeds her gift, which is really what you want. You want somebody who's going to work as hard as they are gifted.
What is your favorite moment with Jill Limbert?
I was very, very impressed with her leadership, particularly this year. So to see her bring the Gingerbread Lady to fruition, and it's a bit private, but I don't mind letting you know that I will say that Gillian demonstrated some of the most selfless leadership that I've ever seen from a high school aged person. Just in some particular decisions that she made, she recognized the responsibility of a leader is not to promote one's self, but it is to create opportunity for growth for others. And that's a difficult thing for anyone to learn, much less a young person. So to me, that's the thing that I will hold.
So obviously you would be able to go to Berkeley without your parents.
Yeah.
So how have your parents helped in this ordeal?
My parents are incredible. I have friends who their parents are having a hard time with them wanting to go to theater school or music school or whatever. But I'm very fortunate. My mother, who is by degree a technical writer, has been convincing my father, who is a software engineer. She's been telling him for a while that I might be a liberal arts major. So they've been knowing that this fate might, fall upon me for a while. But financially, my parents have supported me. I'm not the one who's been writing checks to my music schools for the past 6, 7, some odd years. I'm not the person who's been writing checks for the music summer programs I've done. And they're also, just financially with college, they're helping tremendously. And also just emotional support. There are days when I would come home from AP Theory, like I was talking about earlier, or if I didn't get a role, or if I was just having a hard day and I was doubting myself, they'd always be there to put things back in perspective and tell me, no, you're doing well, you're where you're supposed to be. And they're always a wonderful support system.
So we've talked about your major and the people who supported you and the people like your family and your friends, or your teachers. We've talked about a lot of stuff, and from what it seems, you're in a very fortunate situation, and you're very grateful about that situation. What advice would you give to someone who maybe wasn't as fortunate in the way of maybe not being able to pursue the major that they were originally
Or even
thinking
just
of?
financials of it.
Yeah. You don't have to go to music school to be a very, very good musician. If you look at the people who are on the radio right now, especially in country, a lot of these people maybe come from a musical family or just have the passion and wanted to learn, but you don't need a college education to be successful. My voice teacher, who is wonderful and I love him dearly, has 1 year of a college education. And then he realized that that's not where he was learning, and he would learn better by performing, by doing other things. So that's what he did. He dropped out of school and he just started performing. And that's okay. You don't need, to pay ridiculous amounts of money to have someone tell you that you're good if you already are good enough. You can do music without that being your primary thing.
Jill Limbert left with one piece of advice for people who are looking to do the same or similar things in choosing their own path in what they want to do.
Keep fighting for what you want to do. If you are a musician and someone tells you you're not good enough or you can't afford to fly to Nashville or go to college, keep playing your beat-up guitar with old strings that fall out of tune in your basement. Just do what you love because you love it, and it's okay if nobody else loves it. If you write a song and you think it's the best piece of music you have ever heard, and other people kind of just want, if other people say it's not worth the price of the paper, that's okay, Make art for yourself, and if other people like it and will pay you for it, that's a bonus. But that shouldn't be the reason you do it.